Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with organist Chris Foreman and guitarist Lee Rothenberg of the Chicago-based jazz organ trio Soul Message Band. We had some things to discuss prior to their engagement in Kansas City at the Black Dolphin on March 15, 2020, and they opened up about their latest 2019 CD, Soulful Days, that will be a focus of their show. And they discussed the beginnings of this band and who they really are. So please get to know these musicians, this band, and dig this interview, my friends.
Thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz today. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I really enjoy the music. You guys got a very tasty groove going. It feels very Chicago. I've spent some quality time up there, and there is a definite warmth and sound that goes into the Chicago jazz scene.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Let's get into Soulful Days. It's definitely what I would call an album that's named correctly. So you tell me what the artistic vision, what do you want the listener to get from this recording?
I want them to get a good feeling, a good happy feeling about this. It's, good soulful feeling about this. Good music, good groove, tight groove, I will say. We want everybody feeling good as they hear the selections. I'm going to trace it. Well, one of my friends who's also blind, we sent him a copy of it, and he called me back yesterday and told me that he got the CD. Finally, he finally got the CD, and it sounded great. He played it for his neighbor. They both loved it, so they got a good feeling from it, and that's what we want to convey.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, I don't think we're out to trick or challenge anyone. I think we're out to just play music that comes from the heart and has a good feeling to it, gets people tapping their toes and grooving. I think Chris said it really well with regards to that. I would say.
You're going to bring this sound to the Black Dolphin in Kansas City, one of our premier joints. You're coming to Kansas City in mid-March. Give me an idea of what your itinerary is and how you feel about coming here.
And then, yeah, of course, the Black Dolphin on the 15th. Kansas City is just like the beginnings of some of the most modern jazz that exists today. Obviously, bebop and Charlie Parker and the history there. So I think for me, that's a very exciting opportunity to play there. I know I've been reaching out for the band to the Green Lady for a little while, and recently through a connection in Chicago, a bass player named Joe Policastro, who's been working with John Scott over at the Black Dolphin and Green Lady. Together, they've been putting together this series where they bring some touring bands into Kansas City, and we're going to be the first band that kicks off this series, which is going to be at the Black Dolphin. I guess once a month, John's going to bring in a different band. That's sort of at least where this got started, but in terms of Kansas City being such a important center historically for jazz, that's a lot of things we have to keep in mind emotionally with the music. It's a serious place.
And we also, I understand they have good barbecue there. Arthur Ryan barbecue.
Man, get out of town. Yeah, get into Gates, get into Oklahoma Joe's, get some Bryant's. Yeah, anytime anybody comes into this town, that's a must for sure. Plus, we've wiped away the cobwebs of 50 years of absolute, complete despair. The national media did not nail how bad it's been to be a Chiefs fan in this town for how long. Not saying we're bandwagoners, but there's a lot of misery that was wiped away with that Mahomes magic. So you're walking into a town that's pretty excited about what happened this winter.
Oh yeah, that's true. And being from Chicago, we'll also be a little bit have our tails between our legs, because I guess we could have had Mahomes.
And I don't know how that all played out, but I do know there was a documentary about how they vetted Mahomes, and it was a long, arduous process. It wasn't just, oh, hey, we got a lottery ticket and scratched it off and we won. It was meticulous. It was like an Indiana Jones movie. So, but it always makes things sweeter. So let me ask you this. If you have to come up with some kind of way to entice somebody to come see you guys when you're here at the Black Dolphin, how are you going to describe what a show would be like? Why should they come see you guys live?
Well, we have energy. We have a positive attitude because we want to do well. It's just as I say, it's just good music. If they like blues, I don't know what this crowd is going to they like blues, we got it. If they like, we play primarily jazz, but we are able to switch. We can go an R&B route if we wanted, just for a couple of songs. For example, one of the tunes that we like to do, the version of "Let's Stay Together," which sounds great with the organ, drums, especially organ, drums, and guitar. And
of course, we do the Jackson 5, "Never Can Say Goodbye," and we just recently Chris brought a tune, "Valentine Love," to the band.
Yes.
And Greg, the drummer, brought a tune by a band that I guess is not, it's sort of maybe had been forgotten, a band called The Barge, and the tune "Time Will Reveal." But, we of course do the organ classics, the straight ahead, the hard swinging stuff. That's kind of, obviously what drives the group and the blues. But I have to say also from my perspective, being the youngest guy in the band, and I'm not so young, but Chris and Greg Rockingham, the drummer, those two go back so many years. They are the organ tradition. It's authentic. And if you want to hear like a great, organ, drum, and organ duo, like just those two together, it's just like a seamless, solid unit. And I think that always presents itself well to an audience.
It's chemistry.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Chemistry,
well,
yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Speaking of chemistry, let's get to the beginnings of you guys. How did this band come about, and how have you guys evolved up to this point in 2020?
Rock and I have been playing together for 35 years. Let's say 35 plus. And he and I met at a place on the south side known as The Other Place. And our first job was like October 12, 1984 at a place on the southeast side or southwest side. Known as the Taste Entertainment Center. And then it branched off, and then we said, hey, we got to play. And then we went through, the various guitarists, and then we went on the road with the CD band tour, and then we stopped for a minute, and then Lee and I talked, and we said we got to get back together and encourage rock, and we have been sticking with each other since 2013, 2014, let's say 10 years. Is that about right, Lee?
Yeah, I would say about 2014, 2013 is when we formed as Soul Message. We were playing then as a group, but then we started doing gigs, maybe even like towards the end of 2014, 2015. But we were working on stuff. Yeah, because I know that Deep Blue had not been playing together for at least a year. Actually, and the way I got hooked up with Greg and Chris was I had an opportunity. Greg and Chris had, with Bobby Broom, who's like one of the best guitar players in the world, also a former mentor to me. They had a group called the Deep Blue Organ Trio, and they've been playing at the Green Mill since maybe even 2004, Chris?
Something like that, yes. Uh-huh.
Once I heard, Greg and Chris with Bobby, it's just like I knew I wanted to play with them. And I would have to say about 2007 or 8, I got an opportunity to fill in for Bobby because Bobby was on the road with Sonny Rollins and just really worked hard to learn the material to be ready to do a good job. And I guess they liked it, and I've been playing with them. I'd been subbing with them up for many years while they were Deep Blue at the Green Mill, and that was every time I'd get an opportunity to do that, I was always kind of beside myself and pinching myself. And now being in the band with what I consider, the best organ and drum duos in the world, it's an honor. So I guess that's my history of joining.
Take it
the group.
easy. Take it easy. Don't.
Thanks, buddy.
You'll be okay. You'll be all right.
So, define yourself as a band. I mean, if somebody from the outside sees the name of your band, your artwork, and they know who you guys are based on reading your bios, but they really want to know who you guys are as a band. define who you guys think you guys are as a band.
Well, we primarily, now we're not just this, but we're jazz, blues, and I would say a little bit of R&B. But however you look at it, it's all soulful. One of the categories that kind of cracks me up sometimes is the term soul jazz. You probably have heard that a lot of times, and it's really redundant because jazz is from the soul.
Yeah.
Which is like saying, I don't know, which is like saying classical. Well, no, that may not work. Classical and Baroque are different styles. But it's like, but even classical is from the soul. Would you believe that? It doesn't mean that while you're playing you do a blues passage in the middle of a number like that. It means that if there's something that you have been trying to work on, it's getting to you, and you finally get it, you say, yes, that's in the soul. That's the same way with this work. We have lines that that sometimes are complicated, and then once we get it, it's like, okay, it's in the soul now. That's part of the quote unquote soul jazz. But anytime that you hear that, we are a soulful group. Right? But anytime that you hear that, it sounds redundant, but that's how they word it.
Yeah, I would agree with Chris. Yeah, we're definitely coming from the tradition, but we're not trying to be like some showcase of something that was in the past. We're nodding our heads to that, and at the same time trying to be current with ourselves and to reach in to ourselves and present something that's soulful and that connects with the audience. We're trying to deliver a show, that people can walk away feeling good from. And so, soulful music without, as Chris says, being redundant with the word soulful jazz, for lack of a better way of explaining it. I think that soulful jazz with the caveat that Chris put out there.
What is caveat? What does that mean?
It just means like with something beware, that soul.
That's right.
Soul jazz, like beware that jazz being soulful is redundant, but maybe we need to use the term soulful for people who don't know it or maybe aren't, as familiar with jazz as we are from the musician standpoint, Chris. So, hey, can I give a shout out to, I know there's, you had asked us a little while ago why, about playing in Kansas City and what that means to us. There's some great organ players in Kansas City too, and I've had the pleasure of my wife's from Kansas City, so I've had the pleasure of being out to the Green Lady to hear the OJT, which is led by Ken Laverne, who's amazing, and his guitar player Brian Baggett, and also I had a chance to hear Chris Hazleton's organ trio with great guitarist Matt Hopper. So we know we're coming out to a serious city which knows the organ, so we don't take that lightly.
Absolutely, and I was going to say something about that. Those guys are leading the march. The Black Dolphin's right next to the Green Lady, and if you walk into the Green Lady on any given weekend night, it's like a vampire layer way it's layered. It's all red and kind of velvety, and it's just jam-packed with people, and that sound of that organ is just humming and thrumming. So there is a very good tradition, but I also know, being up in Chicago, there is a very healthy tradition with Vaughn and all those cats that laid the way for so much good that's happened between the blues and jazz. So Chicago is one of my favorite places on the entire planet. So it's great to see that Kansas City and Chicago are coming together for this. So thanks for opening up about the band. Thank you for sending the music over. Thank you very much for reaching out. I always love it when you cats find me here doing the show and that we can give you guys a little bit more exposure on our program. So thank you. Have a great trip, and I hope to see you guys live there at the venue.
Thank you, Joe. And I know that Greg Rockingham regrets not being able to be here and gives you his best in the city, Kansas City, his best as well.
Right on, yeah, and we'll give all of you all an equal shout-out as a band. Thanks, gentlemen. Good luck on the trip and with everything. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Thank you, Joe.
Take care.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Chicago, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Chris and Lee for their time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.